It is 40 minutes past the hour. In the next 36 hours, Newt Gingrich's campaign could be resurrected, or it could just crumble.
Or none of the above, really. I mean, at this point, who knows? The former speaker hoping for a little bit of Southern comfort heading into tomorrow's primaries and admitting that he definitely needs a strong showing in Alabama and Mississippi in order to forge ahead. But then again, he's got the money, so why dump out? He's not passing up the opportunities either to take serious shots at Mitt Romney.
The Romney camp has been trying to sell since last June that I should get out of the race and that the Romney's inevitable. But the fact is, Romney's probably the weakest Republican frontrunner since Leonard Wood in 1920, and Wood ultimately lost on the 10th ballot.
Pretty strong words. So here to talk about that from Chicago, conservative columnist Lenny McAllister. From Washington, roll call political reporter David Drucker. And here in New York, Democratic strategist John Holinko. All right, you three. So those were pretty strong words. The weakest Republican frontrunner. I mean, that's strong stuff from a guy who's possibly on the brink at this point if he doesn't do real well in Mississippi and Alabama. Lenny McAllister, does he have to do real well or does he have to win them?
No, Newt Gingrich has to win them. He has to be able to show some type of home turf. If it's South Carolina, which January seems like it's forever ago, in Georgia, which is his home state when he was a congressman, he needs to have some type of real home turf. Otherwise, saying that there's a weak front runner when you're behind him like a 3-to-1 delegate count only shows how much weaker you are as a candidate. He has to win on Tuesday. So
Dick Gephardt, the former House Speaker and the Democratic presidential candidate, was on the Sunday morning talk shows. He was on with Candy Crowley. He had something pretty specific to say about how on the bigger picture, the general election, you got the tortoise and the hare thing going on, where all of these conservatives or the hares battling it out and duking it out, and then the tortoise is just slowly watching things get a little bit better. Have a listen to Dick Gephardt.
If the economy is still going forward, even at 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, I think most people will stick with President Obama. I think people look at politics like they hire a plumber. I hire you to fix the bad pipe. If you fix it, I'll rehire you. If you don't fix it, I'm not going to rehire you.
And that all sounds fine until you look at the head-to-head matchups. Look at this recent poll by Washington Post and ABC, guys. This is something else. Head-to-head matchup between Obama and Romney. Nuh-uh. Romney's got him by 2 points. Not so much for Santorum. Santorum's trailing by 3. But you know something, John Holinko? Those numbers don't always lie. They don't always tell the truth either. But what do you make of that?
Well, at this point, if the election were held today, according to those polls, it would be a very close race. It could go either way. I think the real key is what Congressman Gephardt said. How does the economy keep moving in the next few months? Do we have another dip, or do we continue having strong job or relatively strong job growth? Does the unemployment rate go down? If things are heading in the right direction and they're looking good, President Obama will win re-election.
And the gas prices probably will factor in heavily, right?
Yeah. Yeah, big time. I mean, the thing about gas prices is that's something that impacts people on a daily basis. And if there's if war breaks out in Iran, if there's continued instability in the Middle East, or it accelerates and we start seeing $5 or higher a gallon gas, people notice that, and that makes an impact, and that could certainly hurt President Obama's chances.
All right, I'm going to do a bit of a right turn here, and I want to direct us all to what you were doing on Saturday night. I have a feeling it was either SNL, but definitely HBO. Game Change aired on HBO on Saturday night, and that's the movie about the book that was real rough on the McCain-Palin campaign, particularly on Sarah Palin, outlining that she essentially knew almost nothing about the national scene, the international scene. And Nicole Wallace, who was her senior advisor, actually spoke on ABC's This Week with George Stephanopoulos about, I'm always worried. I always wonder, how much artistic license do these screenwriters take with these stories? But she kind of set the record straight according to her version of it. Have a listen.
True enough to make me squirm, but, look, this isn't a movie about campaign staff, and this isn't even really a movie about McCain and Palin. This is a movie about the vast gray area in which 99% of our politics actually takes place.
Well, I kind of beg to differ, David Drucker. I feel like this is a movie that's going to have a lot of people real worried about the caliber of candidates and how they can squeak through. And if she's saying it was real enough to make her squirm, it makes me squirm.
Well, look, I think the movie was boring because we didn't really learn that much that we didn't already know.
Not unless you didn't read the book, and not everybody read the book, but a lot of people watch HBO.
Yeah, but there was no, look, The acting was great, but there was no drama in the story. We knew where everything was headed. We maybe saw a few glimpses behind the scenes, if it's true, and maybe it is true. I thought it was a movie, you know, for Washington, by Washington, in the sense that I found the drama that the political
Drucker,
consultants had.
how can you say that when the movie outlines, for those, again, who didn't read the book, that she didn't know there was a North and South Korea, that she didn't know what the Fed was? I mean, those are pretty big revelations for a broader audience than the book readers.
Well, yeah, possibly so, but again, I just don't think that it's going to have a large impact. I think it's something you and I are talking about. I don't think the rest of the country is really going to care. And I think, you know, part of the reason is just it's not as though everybody already thought that the former governor of Alaska was a genius, and now we're finding out we were all hoodwinked. You know, we knew that maybe there were certain things she didn't know. Maybe we know that now in a little bit more detail, but this was not revelatory, and she is not a candidate for president. Had she been a candidate for president, this could have been possibly damaging or much bigger news.
And I will
but
throw
I
that
don't
word
really.
In again, David Drucker, yet, because she did say last week, well, I wouldn't take my name off
She
the ballot
always
if
says
it's put
that.
on.
She always says that, and if she was serious, she would not have resigned as governor of Alaska.
David Drucker, John Holinko, and Lenny McAllister, always good to hear from you, and hope you'll come back again. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Nice to see you.
46 minutes.